An intelligent diver is always alert to what's on the surface above him. My own offbeat work has made me especially sensitive. I've almost been run down by speedboats. I've had to work much too close to water skis for comfort. I've ducked the hungry jaws of a kelp harvester. And I've come close to being a pin-up boy, courtesy of a grappling hook. But I never thought the day would come when a rowboat on the surface would spell out as much danger as anything that I'd ever encountered. That day was almost the finish of Mike Nelson. The whole purpose of this gadget is to take pictures of something on top from underwater without being seen.
Good. Just what I need.
It's buoyant underwater. Open it up like that, sir.
Ah, yeah. Very clever. Mike, the top gang leaders, a dozen or so in the country, are holding a secret meeting. First in over 2 years.
Oh, like that Appalachian meeting up in New York, huh?
Right. Except that the old leaders have been exposed, and the fellows at this new meeting are the new faces in the syndicates. Faces we don't even know about in many cases.
Those are the ones you want me to take pictures of, then, huh?
Right.
Oh, the meeting must be near the water.
It's right beside the water. Did you ever hear of a mobster named Louis Yermel?
Yeah, I've seen his name in the papers.
Yeah, well, Louis has a baronial estate on a private lake. It's completely secluded, fenced in, and all the access roads are guarded very heavily. And that's where the meeting's going to take place.
Well, assuming that I can get into that lake, what makes you think that they're going to stand still while I take pictures of them?
Well, Louis Yermel is one of these barbecue nuts. He's already ordered the meat, charcoal, all the trimmings to throw his boys a big feast out there on his terrace, which is right over the lake. And they're all going to be right out there.
I see. But what I don't understand is why you fellas just don't raid the joint and take them all in.
Well, we're going to do just that. But there's many a slip between plan and execution. So I figure if you can get pictures of these fellas before we arrive, then doesn't make any difference, you see, if they get away when we pile in there. We'll have plenty of evidence.
If I can get the pictures.
Right. Mike, I want to tell you something in confidence. Now, we've been trying all over the country for the last 2 years to lay our hands on the big fellow, Norm Brown.
Norm Brown?
Mr. Big himself.
Hey, it'd be great if you could get a hold of him.
Yeah. But he's a slippery one. Every time we just about get our hands on him.
Maybe I could dream up a way to hold him there until you make your raid.
Man, if you could, we'd serenade you all the way down Main Street with the police department band.
Let's hope that they're not playing the funeral march.
Stop for the barbecue.
Yeah, the guy's been here before.
Okay, you know where to drop it. Down by the edge of the lake.
The truck driver was one of Miles's men. They had gotten me into the lake. The second sack contained my scuba, my fins, my periscope camera. also had a tiny radio signaling device. The police raid would take place at exactly 5 o'clock. But if I needed help, or if Mr. Big showed up, the raiders would move in the moment that they picked up my radio signal. The periscope was fitted with a reflex-type camera with a telephoto lens. On the ground glass viewing plate, I could see everything in range. I knew there were lookouts and bodyguards all over the place, but I had been smuggled past these two. It seemed right that my first pictures should be of them. Then I turned my lens back toward the terrace to watch for the big game. Bullets were ripping into the water. I had only one thought. I had been discovered practically at the start. I had to get back in the deeper water. Then I realized that the shots were nowhere near me. I couldn't know that I wasn't the only one jolted by the shooting.
Hey, you guys! What's the matter?
Just shooting at the ducks out there.
You guys nuts? You'll have the whole place scrambling.
Oh, just for kicks?
Not with guests here. Cut it out.
Sure, Louie.
I had been scared out of 5 years' growth before I realized that I wasn't the target. But then I discovered it had been a very costly episode at that. My little radio signaling device was missing. It had fallen from my belt somewhere, and apparently it was obscured in sand. I started looking for it. My search was fruitless, and I was wasting valuable time. It was good that I took another look. Louis Yamel's guests were coming out into the terrace. In my camera now was the hottest rogues gallery ever assembled. Everything that Miles and his crime busters had been hoping for. Then I noticed that they'd all begun looking in the same direction, toward the other end of the lake. I swung my periscope around, just in time to see a small plane coming in out of nowhere. The plane was anchored some distance away from the house. A rowboat was taking its passenger ashore. Anybody who ever read a newspaper would recognize him on sight. Mr. Big himself, the biggest prize of them all. He didn't know he was posing for some very candid camera shots. Without my radio signaling device to bring the police in immediately, I had to figure some way to keep him there till the pre-planned time for the raid. My best chance was to disable his plane. I had flown that type of plane myself. I thought I knew how to do it. Every eye was on Mr. Big. Nobody was looking toward the lake. I made my move. My objective was to cut the fuel line, if I could just get within reach of it. The pilot was a real eager beaver, but I couldn't let him get to that plane. He fought hard, but the advantages were all mine. When I let him go, I was sure that he'd have to do a little recuperating before he could make any repairs. Now, the most sinister group of criminals in the country knew where I was. I moved into the deep water in the center of the lake, where I would be safest. But for how long?
I'll have to figure out a way to fix it.
How long will it take?
Can't tell.
Well, get on it. I can't stay here.
What about that guy in the water?
He can't leave here alive no matter what. You put men all around here. Keep him in there.
I'll take it. Both, Spinney. Into the rowboat.
You got a machine gun.
No, but I got a carbine.
Well, you get it.
Wait till I get it.
When I saw the rowboat leave the dock, I knew it was after me. But I had to know who was in it and what their plan was. I parked the camera where I was sure that the police would dredge it up sooner or later. The pictures in it would serve their purpose, no matter what might happen to me.
Look at him. Half drowned. Well, what do we do about him now?
Joey.
Yeah?
You were the best bomber we ever had. You still know how to make one?
Sure.
There's stuff in the house. Sam will show you where it is. How long will it take you?
A big one? 20 minutes?
Go. That's how we kill fish in the lake. Knock him out with concussion. One good bomb in there and he'll come floating to the surface, belly up.
I didn't know I only had 20 minutes. I had something else, an automatic carbine. Water can disable a gun pretty quickly, and I was quite sure that for a little while longer anyway, it would still shoot. Now I might have a chance to fight back. Time was running out for me, I was sure of that. If only I could find some way to communicate with the police, who were standing by for my radio signal. I slipped into the shallowest part of the water again, trying again to find the radio. With mobsters every few feet along the shore, it was a desperate thing to do, but I had to do it. The radio device still eluded me. I gave up the search again.
What about Joey and the bomb? Where is he?
Just another few minutes. Another few minutes.
Everything is just another few minutes, even my pilot.
Every instinct warned that one way or another, they would get me if I just stayed put in the lake. My one hope was to get the police started ahead of time, but they were waiting to hear from me. There was one other radio available on the plane itself. With the carbine to cover me, I might be able to get to it, provided that the gun wasn't too waterfoul to work. If it worked, I might take charge just long enough. I could be sure of one thing. If I was going to gamble on this gun, the sooner I got it out of the water, the better. Orlando Tower, emergency. Relay to state police from Mike Nelson. Move in, move in. Repeat, state police from Mike Nelson. Orlando Tower, emergency. Relay to state police. I had no way of knowing whether my call had gotten through or not, but I didn't have long to wait. Above me, I could hear a new flurry of shots, but no bullets were striking the water. Police helicopters were converging from every direction, and police cars would be coming down every road. Mr. Big and company had attended their last barbecue for a long, long time.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Bridges, inviting you to join us for another action-packed story of underwater adventure 1 week from today.
In wartime, an underwater soldier has few advantages. His only defense is a naked blade. His offensive strength, a tightly packed bundle of explosives. My name is Mike Nelson, and diving is my business. I'd been retained by a small Latin American country to train a cadre of underwater demolition experts. But you don't learn UDT in a day. Underwater, none of the ordinary combat rules apply, particularly working with explosives. The measure of safety is a shaved second. Inexperience can mean the difference between a ripe old age and a chilly grave. We got far enough from the shock wave not to be killed, but we were still shaken up by it. This was only practice. But just around the corner of time was a moment when our little lessons would pay a dividend in liberty or death. Any combat unit is only as effective as its human components. Out of the 20 men that I'd started with, I wound up with only 2 who were capable of passing on to others the knowledge they'd acquired. Tomas Vilekis, age 26. University of Princeton, wealthy family. Good diver, very quick to learn. On the surface, you wouldn't want a better man to work with. But under that aristocratic poise ran a stubborn streak. Paul Ramirez, age 28. Called Indio. Orphaned since birth. High school education padded by a healthy curiosity and some years in the service. If you had to pick a word to characterize Indio, it would be happy. He had a capacity for fun. But when the chips were down, he could be as serious as a starving barracuda. There were things about this job that I didn't like, but there were also compensations. If I could see these 2 men, despite their natural antagonism toward each other, develop into a crack demolition team, I'd call it a very good job. I'll knock with 7.
You're beat. I got 2. You're as bad as that plutocrat Villegas.
Just beat him, huh? There was tension on my boat, all right, but it was nothing compared to the tension that was generating ashore in the capital.
Revolution. Yes, Mr. Presidente. Revolution. You do not care for the word, huh? You may very well be forced to live with it.
Serrano, please, I have a guest.
I am not concerned with propriety. My voice is the voice of the people, and it cries out against the injustice of your administration.
Control yourself, Cesario. The only injustice that concerns you is the fact that I sit behind this desk and you do not.
I warn you. If you sign the school tax bill into law, the people will erupt.
Children must be educated whether their fathers approve or not. But beyond this, and until you sit where I sit, any law that passes will do so without the benefit of your recommendation.
Oh, well, that may be sooner than you think. I leave you now with your mercenary. Oh, Mr. Nelson, I should like to remind you of the history of your own country. The British hired soldiers also. But they lost the war to your own ragged farmers.
Oh, I don't think that's a very good simile.
Of course it isn't. Serrano, please leave. You try my patience.
The patience of my people is tried by your taxation. Buenos dias, Mr. Presidente.
Oh, who's that lovely character?
Cesario Serrano. He leads the strongest opposition party.
Oh, he sure wants your job. And I got a feeling that he's going to try to get it, too, one way or another.
Do not worry, Mr. Nelson. The Zaronistas are strong, but they'd lack the necessary votes to win an election.
Oh, I don't mean he's going to try to get it by an election.
You mean his threats? I was a soldier. My personal popularity with the armed forces forestalls any thought of revolt. Now, shall we go on with your report?
Well, as I was saying before the little dictator busted in here, everything's coming along fine.
And these men, are they capable of instructing others?
Well, if they're not, you're wasting your money on me. Mr. President, I'm kind of concerned about this character Serrano. He busted out here like he was going to stir up a revolution.
You instruct my divers, Mr. Nelson. I will restrain the fiery Serrano, huh?
The president wasn't the only one with some restraining to do. I still had my hands full with my 2 students. The training went on. It began to look more like the real thing every day. Maybe the boys were just reflecting the high feeling all over the tiny country. Serrano was whipping up a storm about the school tax. Indio and Tomas never talked politics. But the way they went after each other on the water, boy, oh boy.
Kick me like that once more, I'll cut your throat.
We're not playing marbles, Blue Blood.
You remember what I say, huh?
I remember. Cut off my hair. Do that again, your father's money won't do you no good.
That worries you, eh?
Nothing worries me. I'm just a happy-go-lucky payoff.
Like Serrano, a man of the people.
Hey, take it easy. Take it easy. Break it up. Here, break it up. What's with you two, anyway? What's the trouble?
The usual, Mike, I guess. He resents my background. Well, maybe it's his own he resents.
With this mess developing in town, do you think that Indio has any connection with Serrano? Think he belongs to the party or anything?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he was in the army himself.
Listen, you two are going to be working together as a team. You've got to learn to get along with one another.
I'm sorry, Mike.
All right.
I'll do what I can.
Sweet as you do.
Mike, would it be all right if I went ashore tonight? There's the loveliest senorita I met.
Oh, no, not again. Well, you're really a glutton for punishment, aren't you? How many gals do you want to date in 1 week, anyway?
How many you got?
Oh. Dawn came up clean and crisp next morning, and with it, trouble.
Nelson, it is imperative that I speak to you immediately.
Huh? What's the matter?
The president, he has been abducted. Serrano holds him captive even now.
The colonel laid it out for us. Serrano had made his move in the only way possible. A squad of picked men had captured the president and taken him to a fortress on an island about 4 miles offshore. Any attempt to save him would result in President Duran's death.
And that, Mr. Nelson, is why I come to you. If a plane flies overhead, or a boat gets too close, our beloved president is a dead man.
What makes you so certain that they're going to kill him?
Don't you see? Serrano was afraid only of the military. With the president in his power, he can nullify that threat.
So you want us to suspend operations then, huh?
Yes, Mr. Nelson.
Well, I'd like to help if I can. Can I help in some way?
What can you do?
Well, I might be able to dream up something. Try and stall him off for a while longer, huh? Until noon.
Till noon? What do you mean?
Well, if you haven't heard from us by then, you probably never will.
Hello, Barranca Fort. Barranca Fort. This is Bruno 2, emergency. Come in, Barranca Fort. Barranca Fort. Come in, Barranca Fort.
Bruno 2, go ahead.
General, listen closely. I haven't much time. An underwater attempt will be made to free Duran. I will be with the invading party. You keep a boat circling the fort. You look for a signal from me.
What were you doing, Villegas?
Trying to get some news. What's it to you? I thought maybe I'd find out how your friend Serrano is doing.
All right, let's get started, huh? The island was guarded at every point of access. Patrol boats swept the waters offshore. It was a long swim underwater, even for experienced men. When we reached the area of the island, I took the boys down all the way. From now on, we have to play for the big chips, silent and deep. There was only one deep channel through the reefs. Our charts marked it clearly. The patrol boats were thick. I decided to give them something to think about. Indio got my message. He released a time-fused bomb on a marker buoy. As far away as possible.
¿Qué pasa? What is wrong? Answer me!
The boat, Excellency. Torpedo.
To command idiots is my cross.
Mike Nelson is an extraordinary man.
Well, soon he will be an extraordinary dead man. Should Villegas not be able to signal me, I have yet another surprise for your underwater commandos. Across that channel is a screen. A concrete and steel screen, which they could not possibly know about.
The screen gave me a jolt. If I tried to blow it, the explosion would bring the patrol boats right to us. Yet we had to get through. I left Tomas with some special orders. The screen would be no trouble to blow, but unless Tomas did as I had instructed him, we'd be in deep trouble. Tomas carried out my orders. He planted a timed charge some distance from the screen. The charge at the screen was time-fused. Indio and I had still another one to plant. We sent this one to the surface. Our objective was to create so many explosions that the defenses would be thoroughly confused. Hiding the explosion and a group of other explosions had gotten us safely through the screen. But now I came face to face with an unexpected surprise. We were within sight of the seawall at the island when Tomas suddenly swam out ahead of us. I was caught completely off guard by his move. I couldn't figure out what he had in mind. When I saw Tomas with a Very pistol, I knew what he was up to. One of my boys was a Serenista, all right, but it wasn't the one that I'd expected. Tomas had planned to signal the defenses with his flare pistol. We gave them a better signal than that. We tied Tomas up in a raft and lit a smoke bomb. They could see that all right. And while they were busy trying to figure it out, we would be somewhere else. Indio and I headed underwater for the other side of the island.
raft sure did the trick, huh?
Yeah.
You keep busy here now. I'll get into the fort.
All right. Now keep him busy, all right. You get the Presidente.
Martinez! Martinez, rally to this side! The channel side!
Martinez!
Martinez!
Go outside. Tell Martinez I want him.
And if you do find Nelson, how will you hold him?
He's only human. I have an entire company of soldiers.
You may need them all.
All right, Serrano, you're through. Don't do that. Get on that radio and tell your men to cease fire. Serrano, I'm a peaceful man, but it wouldn't take much for me to shoot a guy like you. Call off the revolver, you're a dead man. I'll count to 5. 1, 2, 3.
Easy, Serrano.
It's been said a lot of different ways by many men smarter than I. But I guess it still goes. You can't tell a man by the way he smiles. They voted me a medal, my first foreign decoration. And they made Indio Ramirez head of a vigorous new program of underwater coastal defense. That was the real decoration.
Hi there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is certainly a lot of fun, and it's full of adventure. See some more of it again next week, huh? When there'll be another excursion into that fabulous underwater world of Sea Hunt.